Nord report the best information in the global internet. I encourage you to subscribe and like and invite you to watch. Russia's armed forces have reported the interception of 3 Ukrainian drones over the Russian capital, Moscow, condemning it as an attempted terrorist attack. According to them, the drone attack on Moscow, which took place on Sunday, resulted in the injury of 1 person, damage to 2 office buildings, and the temporary closure of the city's airport. The Russian Defense Ministry noted that one of the drones was destroyed, while 2 others, neutralized by electronic warfare technologies, hit a complex of office buildings in Moscow's business zone. Material losses were confirmed by photos from the scene and by Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin, who said the attack slightly damaged the exterior structure of 2 buildings. 1 person, a security guard, was injured as a result of the attack, according to Russia's TASS news agency, referring to information from emergency services. It also reports that air traffic to and from Vnukovo Airport on the southern outskirts of the city was suspended for about 1 hour, and airspace over Moscow and neighboring areas was temporarily closed. The attack was the 4th such incident in the Russian capital this month and the 3rd this week, raising concerns about Moscow's vulnerability in the context of Russia's 18-month war with Ukraine. The Ukrainian counteroffensive has been underway for several weeks and is aimed at regaining territory seized by Russia since the full-scale invasion began in February 2022. The Russian Foreign Ministry said that such attacks would be impossible without the assistance provided to the Ukrainian government by the United States and its NATO allies. On the other hand, the Ukrainian government said that a Russian missile attack on the northeastern city of Sumy killed at least 1 civilian and wounded 5 others. The Russian Defense Ministry said 3 Ukrainian drones were shot down on Sunday, with 2 of them hitting office buildings. Vnukovo Airport, located southwest of downtown Moscow, was also temporarily closed. The drone attack on Sunday morning is the latest incident Moscow blames on Kiev. Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, stressed that Ukraine is getting stronger. Today marks the 522nd day of the so-called special military operation, which according to Russian leaders was supposed to last only a few weeks, he said. Gradually, the war is returning to Russian territory, to its symbolic centers and military bases, and this is an inevitable, natural, and absolutely just process. Photos from the scene on the capital. Russian army shelled Kostiantinovka in Donetsk region from MLR Smerch and Uragan with cluster munitions. 2 people wounded. Overnight, 3 civilian ships, AMS-1, Sahin-2, and Yilmaz Kaptan, boldly ignored Russian threats for shipping in the Black Sea. They plotted direct routes, blatantly showing that their target was Ukraine, which could be ascertained through the AIS system. They came from 3 different countries: Israel, Greece, and Turkey, or Georgia. During Sunday's Navy Day celebrations, Vladimir Putin showed Russia's military strength by displaying numerous vessels, including nuclear-powered submarines. On this occasion, he assured the replenishment of the Russian fleet with 30 additional vessels. Sunday's ceremony, attended by roughly 45 ships and other vessels, was a traditional display of military power and took place on the Gulf of Finland and on the Neva River in St. Petersburg. The Kremlin noted that some 3,000 sailors joined the land parade, and this took place after 3 drone attacks on Moscow on Sunday morning. Accompanied by Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu and Admiral Nikolai Yevmenov, head of the Navy, Putin inspected some of the vessels from a patrol boat on the Neva, after which he delivered a speech. Right now, Russia is confidently undertaking the ambitious tasks of our national naval policy and steadfastly expanding the strength of our Navy, Putin announced. 30 vessels of various types will join our fleet this year alone, he added. The Russian president did not comment on the situation, which Russia calls a special military operation in Ukraine. He went on to express his appreciation for Navy, praising the brave crews of ships and submarines. Russian warships sailed on the Neva River in St. Petersburg on Sunday morning, and Putin watched this display of his country's naval power. The display took place against the backdrop of 3 drone attacks that struck an office building and a residential skyscraper in Moscow on the morning of Sunday, an attack that the Russian Defense Ministry described as an attempted terrorist attack by the regime in Kiev. Following the attack, the Kremlin openly threatened to use nuclear weapons. Dmitry Medvedev, former Russian president and Putin ally, warned that there is simply no other possibility and said Kiev should pray for our soldiers to prevent the outbreak of a global nuclear war. Ukrainian resistance activists carried out sabotage on July 29th on a Russian engineering facility located deep in enemy-controlled territory, the National Civil Defense Organization reported. The sabotage took place in Mariupol, a city under Russian occupation located on the shore of the Sea of Azov in the Donetsk region, the center reported. During the attack, resistance activists destroyed 3 military vehicles, damaged a building housing an engineering unit of the occupation forces, and halted the production of Dragon's Teeth, concrete anti-tank obstacles that Russian invasion forces use to fortify the front lines. "It's not just cotton," commented one member of the resistance group, using a Ukrainian euphemism to describe explosions at Russian military facilities caused by Ukrainian missiles and drones, stressing that the destruction of the engineering unit was the result of a traditional sabotage group operating behind enemy lines. Ukrainian guerrillas had already claimed that they had succeeded in destroying an ammunition depot of Russian invasion forces in Russian-occupied Mariupol. As previously reported, Russia celebrated Navy Day, which resulted in a parade in St. Petersburg. Ukrainian cybersecurity specialists also decided to celebrate the holiday by attacking Russian military sailors by sending a fake greeting message to intercept information from their cell phones, authorities in Kiev reported. Using advertising spam, cybersecurity specialists sent messages via Viber, Telegram, and WhatsApp to sailors, including Russian Navy commanders. Greetings included a video showing attacks on Russian warships, including the Moskva, the flagship of the Black Sea Fleet from Moscow, which was destroyed by a guided cruise missile last year. Moskva was the largest Russian warship to sink in combat since World War II and was one of the most humiliating blows for Vladimir Putin during his invasion of Ukraine. The messages contained malware that intercepts information from phones and sends it to Ukrainian servers, reported the Central Intelligence Directorate. A rocket attack carried out by Russia in Sumy led to the deaths of 2 people, while another 20 were injured, according to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. It destroyed an educational facility in the northeastern city. Although the attack occurred late at night, the rescue operation was not completed until late in the evening. Only after dusk was it possible to clean up the debris in Sumy, the site of the Russian missile strike, wrote the Ukrainian president on Twitter. The terrorist attack took place on one of the city's educational centers. 2 people are dead. My condolences to the families and loved ones. He added that the building was completely destroyed, with 4 floors simply blown away by a missile. There was damage to the dormitories, houses, and even the church and Sunday school buildings, he pointed out. Saudi Arabia is to host a peace meeting organized by Ukraine in early August to seek a way to open talks on the conflict with Russia, an official said Saturday evening. He suggested, however, that neither the kingdom nor Kiev has confirmed the planned talks at this time. The gathering is taking place in Jeddah, a port city on the Red Sea, the official said, requesting anonymity due to his lack of authority to comment publicly on the meeting. The meeting will be attended by Ukraine and countries such as Brazil, India, South Africa, and several others. A senior official from the U.S. presidential administration, Joe Biden, is also expected to attend. The official indicated that the planning of the meeting is being overseen by Kiev, and Russia has not received an invitation. Details of the meeting are unclear at this point, and the official did not give a date for the talks. The Wall Street Journal, the first to report on the meeting, suggested that the talks would take place on August 5th and 6th, with the participation of some 30 countries, citing diplomats involved in the discussions. Saudi officials did not immediately respond to the Associated Press's request for comment, nor did the Ukrainian embassy in Riyadh. News of the meeting came after U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan visited the kingdom on Thursday. An official speaking to AP said the meeting was the next step after talks held in Copenhagen in June. Ukrainian and Western officials hope the talks can lead to international support for peace terms that favor Ukraine, according to the Wall Street Journal. The Kremlin, which claims to have annexed about 1/6 of Ukraine, has said it considers peace talks with Ukraine possible only if Kiev accepts new realities. Kiev says negotiations with Russia will only be possible after Moscow withdraws its troops. It is not yet clear how many of the invited countries will participate, although countries that took part in a similar round of talks in Copenhagen in June are expected to do so again, the report said. The UK, South Africa, Poland, and the EU are among those that have confirmed attendance, and Sullivan is expected to attend. It added, Saudi Arabia is holding the meeting when Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky attended the League of Arab States summit in Jeddah in May to pressure those nations to support Kiev.